Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by lineups.com. Nate and Josh back here, 10 games this time on Thursday in the NBA. We're going to be taking a look at some best bets that we have on the sides and totals. Also have some looks here for player props as always. Make sure you are subscribed to that channel. Coming back to you each and every weekday with this action here. We are getting this in overnight, a little bit of the early stuff here for you as we look at some of these early lines. And I think we'll be able to project a little bit of the movement on the stuff we're looking at here for you guys too. But let's get into your first look here, Nate, as we talk Blazers and Bulls, expecting some pace, but you do like the Blazers to cover against this Bulls squad.
Yeah, I can't believe this is only 3.5. I mean, any team that is trying against the Chicago Bulls should be at least 5.5, 6.5. So yeah, if you predict line movement here, I'd say this is going up. But I mean, the Bulls, who are already a joke, and then don't have Simons. They're sitting Jalen Smith, Pat Williams, Giddey on the minutes limit, just playing poorly. It's gone from bad to worse. What they're 0-10, worst net rating in the league, -19 in that span, and that's not even counting, before they remade their team, and then they had this terrible chemistry. I went over it before their last game where they only scored 99. They have the worst assist to turnover ratio in the league, so they're actually just as bad as Portland in terms of the turnovers, which has been the Achilles heel for Portland lately, but I don't think they're going to be able to necessarily win that battle. And the big battle here is they're the fifth worst team limiting offensive rebounds. Portland, number 2, getting offensive rebounds in the last 10. So, I mean, this is a Donovan Clayton smash spot, most likely against a team that doesn't, yet another team that doesn't really trot out any real centers. The Blazers, I mean, they're not a tanking team, right? They're pretty much walking into the play-in, doing what they can here. And they've won 3 straight against tankers, twice against Memphis, once against Utah. They're 23-17 against teams below 500. Got a bit of a wake-up call when Denver just dropped a bajillion points on them. And since then, they've actually played really well in their last 2.
Yeah, the West is clearly separated by the bottom 5 here, and then the play-in teams. I mean, it's like kind of set. Like maybe somebody overtakes the Lakers as far as getting to the top 6 before the playoffs begin. But as far as the play-in goes, like I mean, Memphis, Dallas, Utah, New Orleans, and Sac ain't catching this squad, any of those squads there, including the Blazers. So they still have stuff to play for. And the Bulls aren't trotting out a real squad, man. Like when you look at some of these teams trotting out like a 6'8", 6'9" center, and everybody's a wing, or it's all over the place for Chicago. So even though New Orleans has no shot, don't tell DeJounte Murray that. He recently tweeted it's about to get fun because they think that they might have a shot at the play-in. They do not, but they have nothing to lose for. It's funny because we're going like, no, some of these teams have nothing to play for. It's like, well, this team actually has nothing to lose for. We need to be specific about that these days because despite 17 wins, DeJounte Murray is back. Zion is healthy. No one's really, no one of substance is really on the injury report for them, and they don't get draft picks. They have no incentive to lose. Maybe we need to figure out how to take away draft picks from these tanking teams. Maybe that's it, because the Pellies are a clear team not trying to tank, and the Jazz, meanwhile, claimed that Lowry got hurt during practice. How convenient. I don't think the cameras were on for that injury, which is wild. And now the NBA is sending an investigator that works for them to decipher if this is actually a real injury for Lowry. That's where we're at with Utah right now, and he's listed questionable, as is Keontae George here. So this thing's going to move. I imagine this settles maybe around 5.5 is an important number in basketball there when you consider blowouts and everything in terms of free throws at the end of the game. 5.5 is an important number. I have no faith in the Jazz in this one. And New Orleans, like, there's no numbers that are going to stand out on defense. But again, with DeJounte Murray out there, like, I'll just throw this out there. It's nearly 20-1 for a double-double. And I do like him to be the guy diming up and having the ball in his hands a ton at this point, because this team has not had a true point guard. No offense to the Rook and Jeremiah Fears. This team has not had a true NBA level point guard all season just yet. So he's going to come in nice and easily, and he's fully ready to play full minutes.
Yeah, I mean, Trey Murphy is the one guy who's still on the injury report, right? But that does play into the hands of DeJounte Murray, just, soaking up more usage. He's been chomping at the bit to get back out there. Really, I mean, we're just saying the same thing here, is like when teams are intentionally trying to lose and the spread opens at -3.5, you hit that right away. You might want to parlay them together. Like you can add in the Hawks against the Wizards and just call it like the anti-tank deployment or whatever you want. Like these
Love
teams
it.
are not, they're not going to win. And just the fact that they have home court advantage, I guess, is why the spread opens where it is. Like an algorithm spits this out, but when your fans know what you're doing and it's a dead building, I don't think it really matters. Like
Yeah.
they're just not trying.
Yeah.
So got a little SGP here. Lakers are at Phoenix and Bron at 25 PA. I mean, his prop is only 25.5, so I think you can just play that straight up. But I like adding Jalen Green here to score. I mean, the market is agreeing with this. I was expecting to be able to buy low on Jalen Green after his ridiculous, inefficient performances the last few. But no, it's like 21.5 for like minus 120. They're expecting him to score here because now he gets the Lakers, the fifth worst isolation defense in the league. That's been selling out to stop threes. So you would expect guys who can get their own shot off the dribble, who can drive to the basket, a la Paolo Banchero, Peyton Pritchard, and Benedict Mathurin, the last three guys who absolutely eviscerated this Lakers defense. So now Jalen Green's turn, right? So I think he can get 18 to 20. If you go up to 20 points here, it's 2-1 for him and Bron to do this. And as far as hit rate, Bron, after a loss since January 1st, is 9-1 to getting this number. He's averaging 21 and 8.3 in February. You know, it's LeBron go time, right? He's done this for years, where it's like, all right, I'm taking like a break over Christmas and into January a little bit, and now I'm going to try to ramp up for the playoffs. And the Lakers, as bad as they've been defensively and as bad as up and down as they've been, it's like after a loss, he comes back and he's like, all right, I got to turn it up a little bit here. It's an easy matchup. Suns are suddenly bottom 10 in a lot of defensive categories. Losing Dylan Brooks will do that. Bottom 10 in paint points, second worst guarding the rim, and suddenly allowing transition points and points off turnovers, which they haven't all year. And that's really the lifeblood for LeBron at this point.
Yep, entirely. I think for Brown too, it's like, I mean, did you see that chase down block last night against that Magic game? I was like, no way, man. I thought that like SportsCenter was trying to do something funny where they sped him up. I was like, this looks exactly like he's in Miami doing the same thing. So I'm still there with it. If there's a get right game, I still have no respect for this Lakers defense, who's like relying heavily on Bron chase down blocks, but more importantly, like Marcus Smart to guard the best player on the other team consistently. Don't like that matchup for him. We've talked about this on the show too. I prefer him as a sort of down low guarding guys in the post at this point in his career more than I want to see him be able to guard a guy like Jalen Green, who is just as likely to get some Austin Reeves on him as anybody else. So yeah, there's not much there to like in that one. Thought about trying to find a way to bet on Phoenix, but I truly cannot get there. I think I'd actually take the Lakers in that one. But I have one more side myself here after the Pels game. I do like the 76ers here. I think -1/2 is too low. I still don't have much respect for the Heat at this point. I still don't think they've gotten it together. If you look at their last 5, Utah, New Orleans, Atlanta, Memphis, Milwaukee, they did end up beating Atlanta. They're 3-2 in those games right there, with that loss to Utah that's just sticking out like a really sore thumb, except for they also then lost by 11 to Milwaukee last night. And they're a team that has not put two halves of basketball together. They actually did really well in the second half there to pull away from Atlanta. And then they actually did not do well in the second half against Milwaukee, losing that half by about 10 points and really never really in control of the game at any point. But they at least had a pretty good offensive first half, as bad as it was defensively. That's the thing here, is like Hero getting up to like 30 minutes is really proven to be a big detriment on their defense. And you mentioned it last time, and his net rating is basically around even because he has played pretty well on offense and is hitting a good percentage of his shots off the bench. It's just that defense is just such a liability. And there's multiple guys that are creating liabilities, even coming off the bench for this team at this point, including Khalil Ware, as good as he is in terms of grabbing rebounds on the defensive end and being able to hit shots as a big man. Also been a liability on defense in a way that's why they actually started pairing him with Bam a little bit more because they didn't really feel like he could be the guy that was orchestrating things on defense. So I just don't trust that squad. Meanwhile, Philly with Embiid in their last 5, 4-1, offensive rating up at 121.5. Yes, they got the benefit of playing like the Pacers in there as well, but plenty of other teams, including the Knicks and such. So I think that this Philly team with Embiid is right on the cusp of challenging the top 4 in the East right now, who you give a legitimate shot to, and I think they're going to handle business against the Heat at home.
Yeah, I'm with you. But I am not sticking with Embiid as the main guy. I think it's going to be a Maxey night. I think Embiid, he's still like working his way back. It seems like from whatever knee soreness had an issue, just getting whatever numbers he did against Indy in one of the easiest matchups possible does not indicate that he's fully back. I think it's still, very much Maxey's team. It has been, even when Embiid has been at full health, he's been more than happy to be the 2B option out there. And matchup is tougher for him. I mean, his last 5 against Bam, he's at 22 points per game. He's a minus 56. Last 5 for Maxey against the Heat, 29 a game, 30% usage, playing 40 minutes. 4 of those have come without JoJo. And I mean, we've talked for a while how they do have good chemistry together, how Maxey actually can score more when Embiid is out there, especially this version of Joel Embiid, who's not necessarily trying to go in there and bang knees and get himself hurt. He's looking to do a lot of dribble handoff stuff, right, and get Maxey going up at the horn. And in his last 8, some of it with Embiid out, but 30.8 points per game, 3rd most efficient driver in the NBA, 3rd most pull-up points per game. And that's how you score against Miami Heat. I mean, they limit the spot up. So I'm not necessarily going to look for the assists here. I'm going to look for Maxey to get his own, to attack those guards you mentioned, especially Tyler Hero when he's out there. Davion Mitchell, looked at it 2 nights ago as he's on the injury report with 3 different things. I don't think he can be a full stopper. And he got absolutely roasted by KPJ and Rollins. And now you have the toughest cover in terms of a small guard in the entire league. Good luck with that.
Yeah, my poor Davion, man. Let's not besmirch him. He's hurt, okay? I know you weren't, and I know you said he was hurt. But yeah, for everybody out there, he hasn't been able to guard very well at all. And if he's not out there again, that leaves those holes on the Miami side of things. So speaking of really weak spots that you might call holes on defense, the Chicago Bulls are not good. Wait.
Pacers.
They're not playing the Bulls. Yes, Pacers. I got the wrong boo-boo squad. 3, 2, and 1. Speaking of teams with weaknesses, the Pacers, we look for bigs against them, and we look for rebounds a ton. That's always what I'm trying to get at here. I mean, the points kind of come with it, and he's at 8.5 right now for Moussa in his 2nd game back from returning from the brawl. It was so funny, the brawl with Detroit. So yeah, he and Miles are both back. He had a game against Chicago that it was his return game against the Bulls there. 18 rebound chances, just 7 boards in that one. And he was priced similarly to this game at 9.5. This is an even easier matchup for bigs against the team that is bottom 10 on the season in rebounds, but specifically against centers, bottom 3 over the course of the last 15 games. Jay Huff, God bless him, not going to be it. The only thing that really is a threat to me, one, the blowout, but they just beat the Bulls by 32 and Moose still played 31 minutes. The other thing would be there are these instances where if you are the guy guarding Jay Huff and he's running around the 3-point line and setting pick and pop screens or trying to get corner threes, then you might be a little bit out of position. But I mean, Moussa's rebound chances are going to be at about 18, and they have been at about 18 per 24 minutes, and he's the guy now. It took 1 game of returning Kalkbrenner back to the bench. It seems like Kalkbrenner also just injures himself in the first or second half of almost every game that he's in, and then he's questionable for a week, and that's where we're back at with him, where he's got these 4.5 point props, and Moussa's the guy. It's 33 about is the projection for him pretty consistently now. So against the easiest opponent, I'll take this, call it chalky, but I think this could get up to about 10.5 and even 11.5 when the market starts getting their hands on it.
No, yeah. Once again, I'm right there with you. I mean, I got some similar stuff for my look because it's just again targeting the Pacers, being a tanker, being a team that cannot score right now. Siakam doubtful, Nesmith out, Nembhard questionable. They're going to probably throw out another G League squad that's going to just miss a ton of shots. You love to see that regression too with Diabate. 18 chances, only 7 rebounds. So yeah, I love targeting that positive regression there. Miles Bridges, I think, is going to get his too, whether it's the points or the rebounds. And I think the best way to play is to just combine them. For what it's worth, he's hit this 7 straight times against Indy. I mean, when they were actually far more of a full strength and legitimate unit. He actually hit this in just 22 minutes, like you said, in the blowout against the Bulls. And he also coming off that extended rest with the suspension. Because the way Indy plays defense, they try to limit threes. That's the one thing they are still doing. He's not really a catch and shoot guy anyway. I mean, he gets his on the drives, on these in-between stuff. And I mean, the Indy, they are not doing well on any of that other stuff anymore. They are the second worst paint defense, actually the worst since they started the true tank here the last 4, 73%. They're allowing 53% overall. They're allowing the second most attempts in the paint, is what I was getting at. And they're playing at the fastest pace in the league at 109 with a 26 offensive rating. So they're just giving up rebounds all over the place, letting you go helter skelter. If you're an athlete like Miles Bridges, you're gonna feel right at home in this game.
109 pace without the ability to hit a shot. There's rebounds to be had, everybody. Like get in, get your rebounds in this game for sure. I love it. You know who is going to be helping build those bricks and rebound chances is my man Jarace. I respect Jarace. I love him as a hooper. If I showed up at a gym, I'd want Jarace Walker on my team, like the dude who's going to like set hard screens, be tough as nails. Hasn't really equated to like that much success, even with these opportunities that he's had here. Went 3 for 13 in their last game here that lost to Philly. I'd say this is a worse matchup for him than that one because of Miles Bridges, because of the length that they can throw at him on the wing, and then the sort of way that they've defended the paint. This team was bottom 5 or 6 at one point in the season, and the Hornets in limiting paint points, and they've climbed all the way up to like top half of the league now, in about 14th limiting paint points, because they've been a top 10 defense now for going on 30 games here for Charlotte. So this number at about 15.5, that's where I'd end the under for him. But he's had a 15.5 line against teams that I would say are not the Charlotte Hornets. I mean, I wouldn't say it. Statistics would say they're not the Charlotte Hornets on defense. Some of his recent stuff for Jarace has just been like the Pacers' recent games, right? They've been essentially 76ers, Mavs, Wizards. That's the three that I'm looking at there. And yeah, I'll give the 76ers defense enough love with Joel, and it's at like 114, which is good enough for slightly better than middle of the pack. So it's nothing to write home about. And then the Mavs and the Wizards, both tanking teams. And this dude's usage has been high enough, even against those teams where 15.5 was only good in one of those games or so. Yeah, now against I don't think it's adjusted enough upward against this much better Hornets defense.
Yeah, the Hornets don't take anything for granted. They're like last year's Pistons in that regard. Like they don't look at another team trotting out a G League squad and be like, okay, we don't have to be on our P's and Q's. Like they play defense well every single night right now, and that's something you can bank on, especially when you target unders on the other side.
You just made me realize that the 1-8 matchup in the East in the first round could very well be Charlotte and Detroit, and that is going to be a good time. So that is all the time we have for you guys in this one. Definitely make sure to subscribe to that channel. Coming back with plenty of action on Friday for you as well with the best bets and the player props. So until we see you next, happy betting.